Hello, and welcome to episode 169 of the Pos-cast. Rabbi Shmuel Posner, myself, Seth Hellman. Rabbi, how are we doing today?
Baruch Hashem, Chodesh Tov, happy Rosh Chodesh Menachem Av, which is really a funny thing to say because the month of Menachem Av is the month when Tisha B'Av happens, and the Talmud says, Mishenichnas Av Mimatim B'Simcha, the Mishnah. When Av enters, you should diminish in joy. You can't tell that to a chassid. What do you say? Like, you should be depressed. We don't do that. We don't do that. I don't know. Did I tell you this last week about my sister bringing people to Crown Heights and then other neighborhoods? Like the difference in, you don't remember. The difference, like she was just saying that when she had a group of people, like they were taking to different neighborhoods in New York, and she said the Jews there are just like, ugh. You go to Crown Heights, everybody's happy to see you. Anyway, the bottom line is that Chassidim emphasize joy. You just can't put them down. So to say that when Av, so what the Mishnah says, when Av enters, he's reduced in joy. So here's the twist on it. Mishenichnas Av mimatin. When Av enters, diminish it. Diminish the negativity of Av. How? Bisimcha, with joy. Instead of when Av enters, diminish joy, put the comma after diminish. When Av enters, diminish with joy. So the Rebbe talks about this and says, it doesn't mean you're supposed to break the halacha, God forbid, and sing and dance and play music and go to concerts and do all kinds of foolish things. It means is there's joy that's permissible. Like, for example, making a siyum. So if you go on Chabad.org at 7 o'clock on the weekdays and 2 o'clock on Friday, 2 o'clock on Sunday, they have a siyum every day. Now, that doesn't mean that you can eat meat or anything like that. It just means you could be happy. You can be happy with the joy of Torah. That's real joy. So that's how you increase in joy, by doing permissible things to make you happy. And today's Rosh Chodesh. Today's the yahrzeit of Aaron HaKohen, which the Torah mentions it, which is incredible. It doesn't mention anybody else's date. Actually, in Chumash, it says it happened on Rosh Chodesh of the 5th month. Right, Nisan here, Sivan Tammuz of. Yeah, 5th month from Nisan. And Aaron was the one who is known as, he was the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, but also he emphasized Ahavas Yisrael, love a fellow Jew. That's how you end exile, by loving fellow Jews. And what greater love can you give to a Jew than to help him increase in his observance of Torah and mitzvahs? So on Newbury Street last week, this guy walks by, a tall guy wearing a black hat. I'm like, I didn't know what he was. He was with 2 kids. He walks by, and for some reason we didn't stop him. 5 minutes later, he comes back. I'm going to put on tefillin. I think he was half Israeli or something. I don't know. But the point was that just being there, sometimes you have to ask people, and sometimes just being there like reminds them, yeah, I should do this. I know I should do it. So that was that. So I want to tell you something. 2 things. First thing is this. Got the greatest compliment for last week's program. I'm not going to say who said it because he's a regular listener. I don't want to embarrass him or anything. But he sent me a message. He said it was great, like you were talking from your heart. I said, he said it was like a Farbrengen. Like, what? I don't even know that he knows the word Farbrengen. And he said it was like, he's not like, I'm not going to describe. He's not like a Lubavitcher chassid, with this and that. He came to be you. He's a very close friend, whatever. But like the word Farbrengen, I didn't know that it was part of his. People have words that they say, but they don't really know what they're saying. But like here, he's trying to describe something, and that's what came out. That's what he said. Obviously, it was intentional. So yeah, that's the greatest compliment. We're Farbrengen. That's it. That was so amazing. I love that. That was fantastic. So we're working very hard. When I say we, I don't mean me. I'm not the, but Yisrael and his wife Zelda are working really hard to gather the alumni. They're calling people. They're like, It's incredible, really incredible. Baruch Hashem, it's going to be an amazing event. An amazing event is that people haven't seen each other for a long time. That's what I'm looking out to watch how people who went to school together and haven't seen each other like the 15 years, like the high school reunion type thing, and where people are now in different states. That's when I'm going to have my. I mean, obviously, I'll be happy and very, very, very excited to see people I haven't seen in a long time. But and I wanted to tell people to wear like really big name badges, because I can't I got about to see like 4 feet away before the guy comes. Because I was in Young Israel this week, Friday for mincha Shabbos afternoon, and because we had like 8 men for lunch. I was like, oh, like 9. Like, oh, we're going to the street find a ninth guy for mincha. Anyway, so I said to Chani, you think I should walk to mincha? And she said, like, why not? I was hoping she'd say, no, it's a long way. It's hot outside. She said, why not? I said, okay, I'm going. Anyway, so when I came there, I was a little bit early. I came in, sat down, and some guy comes over and says, oh, Rabbi Posner. He gives me a big hug. And I have no idea who he is.
Oh, no. I hope it was Rabbi Yitzi. That'd be so funny.
No. It was a student. And I couldn't place him. And he's talking about, and he shows me his tzitzis. He has techelis. Like, he thinks that's going to impress me. He doesn't know me that well. And I'm looking at him, and like, I maybe vaguely have something, remember you, but not really. Like, and then later on, I asked somebody else. He said, I think he's from Northeastern. I said, oh, now I got it. He's a Northeastern kid that graduated probably last year. Mm-hmm. So I don't even try to remember, unless they have a big impression on me. I don't really remember them that well. So that was funny. Oh. And while we're talking about this, while I'm walking to Young Israel, so I'm like, I've got my Judar on, got the Judar going. The other thing is when you walk, so I don't know if you know this, there's a halacha that when a man walks, he shouldn't walk between 2 women, and a woman shouldn't walk between 2 men.
Knowledge. That's what it says, right?
Say it again.
It says something like, if you do it, you lose all your Torah knowledge.
Yeah. It's it has an effect on your Torah knowledge. And the Rebbe was very careful about it. Like if he'd be walking and there's women on both sides, he would just stop. But we knew that. So like when the Rebbe would come from his car and come up into 770, like especially during like Tishrei time when a lot of guests are coming, they wanted to see the Rebbe. So people are very, very careful to make sure the women are on one side and men on the other side. So because if you're on both sides, you wouldn't walk through. So when and I'm walking in the street, which right now, I went on Commonwealth Avenue yesterday. There's nobody around. Maybe some summer students. But anyway, but when I walk in the streets, so I'm trying to be careful not to walk between men, but walk between women is not so usual it's going to happen. If two women are walking together, I'm not going to walk in between them. That's ridiculous. But if a guy and a girl are walking, I got to make sure to be on the right side. So I'm like wavering up and back, to be on the guys. So I looked up in the halacha, and so it says, like, what you can do is if you have something, if you're holding something, like if you're on a plane and you're sitting next to and let's say you have the window seat, the woman has the middle seat, and another man. So if there's something in between, you don't have to bring like a 6x6 board to put it up, but if there's something that separated. So if I'm carrying something, I just hold my tefillin, I hold on my side. So I've got something, or the other thing is you should be dalet amas away. So as I'm walking, if I see something I'm going, to be like far away. Oh,
it must
man.
look ridiculous to anyone who doesn't know what's going on.
So I'm walking, and I see these 2 guys coming towards me. So I'm writing Jewish or not Jewish. And I got to remember, there's a lot of people visiting because of the soccer mishagas, right? Mm-hmm. The World Cup. So a lot of different, nationalities. So the tall guys, dark skin, sort of, big noses. I'm saying, hey, could be Jewish. There's a chance. And so as I'm walking by, they say, hey, oh, like the outfit. So I stop. Once he's talking to me, okay, now I'm stopping. So now I'm trying to figure out like that. So say, he says, yeah, I'm wearing my kapata, my hat, and my tie. He's also wearing a dress jacket. He wasn't still shabby himself. These two guys, or maybe dress pants and a button down shirt. And so I was like, he said, which Jew would say to a rabbi, I like the outfit? It'd be something. So I figured right away he's not Jewish. I just said, hey, you got a good eye. And that was it. Off they went. So I always chalked it up. Any good interaction with a non-Jew is a plus for the world. It makes the world a better place. Even on Newbury Street, when going come by, and they, which takes me to yesterday. Yesterday there was a funeral. So one of the shluchim put out like a mess mitzvah. You know what a mess mitzvah is? It's a concept in halacha, mess mitzvah, when there's nobody else to bury the person, and it's a mitzvah. So even the kohen gadol is allowed to come tameh when there's a mess mitzvah. He's no relative. It's like, or the classic example is he's walking on the road and he finds a dead body, like whatever, back in the day. So here the guy says, he needs a minion. So I'm like, okay, whatever, he'll find the minions. If the third time he posted it, he's desperate. Then the guy who's in charge of the Rebbe Kadisha, not Henry. Henry's out of town, I guess. Got the second in charge. So he messaged me. Now these guys are like tzaddikim. They like devote time and energy, get no pay for it, and it's yeah. So he said. So when he messaged me, can I go? So I was supposed to learn with somebody. I was able to push it over to another time, and so I went there. So I called the Chabad rabbi from the north of Boston who was organizing, like, what's the deal here? So he said that this guy never was married, and he has a niece that lives in California. When he passed away, she was having cremated. So the Chabad rabbi there convinced the niece not to do it and said that we'll arrange a whole burial, it won't cost you anything. And then he called this other guy here in Boston, and that was his connection. That's why this whole thing happened. So talk about a mess mitzvah, like it's unquestionably that fits the category, because literally he was saved from being cremated. That's like the worst thing that could happen. So there was like 8 of us, 8 Chabad rabbis, and there was a couple of other people, Jews that came. And one guy, he said to him afterwards, I was walking out of the cemetery, and he said, who are you? He said he lives in Malden, right? Malden is north of Boston. And he said his mother passed away, I don't know, 10 years ago, whenever it was. He said there was no minyan for her when she got buried. There's no minyan. So he saw in one of the chats that they needed a minyan. So he came. I thought it was very beautiful. I think that's a good merit for his mother, that the son did the mitzvah in her honor, because there was no minyan in her thing. Anyway, so like there's nobody knows who this guy is. So there's like, what you can't in a eulogy, we know who he is even. So there was then I saw on the side like these 5 men with semi-formal, like middle-aged, like about 50 to 60, that's middle-aged. It's the middle of the 100. And they're standing there. None of them are wearing yarmulkes. So I'm going like, that's weird. The black yarmulkes, the single layer black, and we have some of them downstairs. That's what you call a funeral yarmulke, because you go to a funeral, you just pop the thing on your head and it sits like that. So like these guys are wearing yarmulkes, and I'm not, the other rabbi, I thought maybe he knows them, some kind of sensitivity. I'm not going to run over to him and put a yarmulke on. So then I said to the rabbi, Muslim, like, who are those guys? He said, those are his friends. They're not Jewish. I'm like, oh. So we said Tehillim, we did a little bit of this and that, and then one of these friends he came over to speak and spoke about him. He said he was a very good man. He was kind. He was generous. He used to give money to Jewish charities, supporting Jewish causes. He was a great lover of Israel. He supported Israel, and he was like his medical proxy. So, at the end, he actually got a little bit emotional. I guess a personal friend. So after the whole funeral, then we had to bury him, all that. He comes over to me and he says, because I spoke after he did the burial, before we did Kaddish, I spoke and I said, what did I say? I said, it's Erev Rosh Chodesh Av. The one reason for the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash was because there was a lack of love of one Jew to another. Here we are. There's 10 of us. None of us know who this person is. We didn't even know his Jewish name. We know his Jewish name. We wanted to say Tillim according to the letters of his name. Nobody knows his name. Anyway, I said, here we are. This is the greatest love. And I didn't talk only about the Jews. I wanted the non-Jews to feel included. That, here are real friends. I said that when you bury somebody, it's the greatest mitzvah because the person will never thank you for it, right? That's why it's called the Chesed Shel Emes. It's kindness. The true's kindness is to do something for a dead person, a deceased person, because they're not going to give you anything back for it. Anyway, so afterwards, I was walking back to my car, and he came over and said, "Thank you for the service. It was very nice." And I gave him a little hug. I said, "You're a real friend." And then he pulls us out. He comes over with this. Can you read it?
You gotta move it closer to the laptop here. Spiegel?
Spiegel Associates. He said, the guy's name was Spiegel. He said this, he used to give these pens out, so I wanted to give him one of these pens. So I called up the rabbi. I said, did you find out more about this guy? Like, he used to support charities. You should talk to this friend and say, in his honor, you should give money to Chabad. Anyway, I don't know what happened with that, but I thought it was very so actually, when his name is Spiegel, within Yiddish, the word is Spiegel, means mirror. So in my little talk, I brought him that because I wanted to say something about the deceased guy, but I only know his name was Spiegel. Like when you care about another person, look in the mirror and you see yourself. You look at another Jew, that's another person. That's a mirror. You're a human. He's a human. He's a Jew. You're a Jew. So that's where every person is a mirror of everybody else. When you're looking at somebody else, you're looking at yourself. So every person you see is a mirror of you. The Baal Shem Tov teaches that when you see a shortcoming in somebody else, it's because you have that shortcoming. It's a fascinating way of looking at things. And you think about it, your insecurities, when you see it in somebody else, you pick on it. Like, why? Why are you even thinking about it? Because you have that insecurity. So you're by putting the other person down or pointing out by somebody else, you feel better. Like, oh, I have this problem. You have this problem also. Like, people are overweight. Like, oh, look at that guy. He's so fat. Like, what's about you? I'm like, oh, let's talk about somebody else. Anyway, but that's a powerful moment. A powerful moment. Non-Jewish friends, and he talked from his heart. It wasn't a farbrengen, but he talked from his heart. It was meaningful. So I'm going to say something about Chani. So don't tell her because she's like, why are you talking about me on the Pos-cast? But I think this is okay. There might be an emergency. Take down Pos-cast number 169. It's causing trouble. So I believe this is, George Rohr is a big supporter of Chabad on campus. And I think this is his idea. Definitely he's supporting it. It's something called Ashrenu. Ashrenu means how fortunate we are. We say it in Daven, Ashrenu Atev Chokenu. So he was one of the things he's focused on, every time he spoke at the campus kinnis in the summertime or in the winter, he would talk about the women, the shluchais. The rabbis get old, they get the pulpit and they get the honor, but what's about the women? So he started this program where you have like a small group, a cohort, like 4 or 5 shluchais. They're like a team, and what they're supposed to do is, and it's like I don't think it's actually planned out. I think it's like random. I mean, obviously nothing's random, but it's not like thought out. It's not 4 friends together. It's like 4 people who aren't friends should be talking to each other to be able to bounce off each other, support each other. It's like they should farbrengen, and that's what they do every couple of weeks. They have like a phone farbrengen. It's the best way to describe it. And then he says the women deserve to have a vacation. Time to go away. So the program a lot, some money, I don't know how much, for them to go, like for a 2 day trip, where wherever they want to go, and they go. So Hani and three of her buddies, her Ashrena sisters, they they went away. So this alumni who wants to come, who's alumni for like 35 years ago. She's a mother, a grandmother, and all that, obviously. So she calls. I pick up the phone. Hello, who's this? Tell me who it is. It was the Chabad house phone. Hello, who's this? Yeah. She said, I want to talk to Hani. I said, well, don't you have her number? She says, yeah, I think I have her number because she messaged me a few months ago and about something. It was Hani's mother's yard site, which was before Pesach, right after Pesach. And she sent me a message. Do you have any stories that you remember from my mother? Because her mother would come here and she would talk to the students, which is like, I think it's the most incredible thing. It's an incredible thing because these are the students. Like, how many of them have a grandmother who's a Holocaust survivor or is like a Hasidic woman? And as much as Chani and I talk to them, but when they hear from like a person like that, like a noble woman like that, like to hear her talk, and she's whatever she's saying is not coming. It's not from the top of her head. It's like lived through like real life experiences and being gentle and encouraging them to be more Jewish and more involved. It was amazing. It's amazing. So she said, she sent me that message. And then I don't know, because I sent a message. So I messaged that number and I got a response. I'm on vacation now. And she said, so I thought it was like the wrong number. Oh, I'm on a getaway. I'm on a getaway. So she said, I realized that wasn't Khani's number. Can you give me her number? I said, no. Khani's actually on a getaway. And I explained to her, as I did to you, what the Ashreinu Club is. And she said, no, it can't be. It can't be. Khani goes away.
I like how I'm not the only person who just assumes that the Chabad house is going to fall apart if Hani isn't there.
But that was like, it's so incredible. Like, she literally thought she had the wrong number because Hani said, I'm on a getaway. Like, I can't even imagine. It's so deep. It's on parallel with hearing that last week was a Gus Farbrengen. Like, the perspective that she had on Hani. And what did she know from Hani? She know that Hani was home. Look, this only started a few years ago. When there was like 8 kids in the house, half of them under 10 years old, Hani wasn't going on any getaways. Forget about it. She was here. I mean, she was full-time Rebbe, full-time teacher, full-time mother. She wasn't getting away from anything. It's only now that, they're grown up that she can actually pull this off. Anyway, but I realized that she had her picture of Hani, and she knows that her kids are married. She knows what's going on, and she's not disconnected. But she has this vision of Hani like holding 3 kids and 2 other hanging on to her. Like, what kind of getaway? So just like it was hilarious to hear that. But anyway, it was very beautiful. Oh, Hashem. Yeah. What else is on the docket for today? We need to talk about bringing Mashiach. So this Shabbos is called Shabbos Chazayin, because the Haftarah starts the prophecy, the vision of Yeshayahu, and it's actually it's the 3 weeks that precede Tisha B'av, which are the Haftarahs are all Haftarahs of rebuke. So there's a teaching from Rabbi Yitzchak of Barditchev. He says like this: Chazayin means a vision. On the Shabbos, before Tisha B'av, every Jew is given a vision of the third Beis Hamikdash. Now, what does that mean? First of all, who gets that vision? So the Rebbe explains There's a Gemara in Megillah, page 3, where it says that, quotes a pasuk where it talks about Daniel was walking with 3 others, and Daniel was a prophet, and he had a vision of an angel was talking to him, and the people with him didn't see it, but they trembled. So the Gemara asks, if they didn't see the angels, why were they trembling? So it says their mazel saw it. The mazel is like a higher level of the neshama that's not in the conscious mind of the person. So we see there is a concept, even in Gemara, like there's a higher level of the soul, and it affects the person because they were trembling. They didn't know why they were trembling because they didn't see anything, but their mazel saw it. Okay, so the idea that the higher level of the soul can have some kind of inspiration, and it affects the person's consciousness. Okay, that's number 1. So, but what's the point of giving a vision of the third Beis Hamikdash? So he gives an analogy. There was a king who had a son, and he bought him a very nice garment, but didn't treat it properly. It got torn. So then the king gave his son another garment, replaced it with another one. Again, he mistreated it, and it got torn. So he prepared a third garment, and he didn't give it to him. And from time to time, he would show it to him. So then if he would behave, you know what he'd be getting. So that's the analogy. Hashem shows us third Beis Hamikdash. But the talk of the Rebbe that I was studying this morning with Matt Sheafar, he lives in Los Angeles. So we learn at 8 o'clock his time, 11 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock his time, an hour before he goes to work. So the Rebbe says, why a garment? Why didn't he say he showed him a house? So the Rebbe explains that house and garment surround the person. A house is much bigger, much stronger, but the garment is more personal. And the point over here is basically that Hashem is showing that the Beis Hamikdash is like a garment. Why? Because the Beis Hamikdash has different levels of holiness. It's not like one side. You think of a room, it's one room, so everything is the same. But in Beis Hamikdash, you know that there was like the Holy of Holies, there was different places where Yisrael is allowed to go, different places where a Kohen can go, what you could eat, where and when. So it had a garment effect. A garment effect means that it's more personal, it's more fitting, like as a garment. A room is big and encompasses everybody, tall people, short people. Garments, a tall person can't wear a short person's clothes, and a short person can't. So the garments are more fit to the person themselves. And so the idea over here is that the third Beis Hamikdash will be so permeated with godliness, like in a personal level. And that will spread to the whole world. Like it says, when Mashiach comes, all the flesh will behold Hashem. That part of godliness that's in everything will become apparent to everybody. So the garment analogy is very fitting when you're talking about the third Beis Hamikdash, talking about Mashiach. And the same thing is also applies to us, that our Yiddishkeit has to be something that fits. Like it's not some external thing. It's like very personal in all the details. And when it comes so detailed that like you actually feel the reality of my hand is a hand that puts on tefillin, my feet that walk to shul, that it becomes part of you're living it in a very personal. It's not some external thing. I'm just doing it, but I'm not really involved. And that is the way, when we live that way, that's how we actually bring the third Beis Hamikdash. And so that's why the analogy of a garment, that it should fit you, it should be personal, it should be you integrate into your personal life, which means that you basically, this is a time not to mourn and say how terrible it is. Of course, we have to recognize what we're missing and recognizing that Hashem himself wants to be revealed in this world. He's waiting for us to get our act together and to make that happen. But also to have a positive perspective. We can do it. One more mitzvah, one more learning Torah, one more outreach to another Jew, helping them out. All this is the way that we're going to bring Mashiach to the world. And that'll bring it to us personally as well, and it'll fix everything. And so specifically during this time, to add in giving tzedakah, add in Torah study, especially about the Beis Hamikdash, which we did on Monday night. We started a little about the Beis Hamikdash. Go online, there's lectures, there's diagrams, there's insights. We want the Beis Hamikdash to be rebuilt. If you don't know anything about it, like what do you really want? When you start learning about it, you start getting a feel for it. Like, oh, when the Beis Hamikdash is built, I'll be able to go and give tours to people. I know exactly where everything is happening. So we should learn about the Beis Hamikdash. We should listen to the Siyum. If you have a local place, you can go in person or else listen online. And the culmination of this exile should be very quickly with the last mitzvahs that we do to mop up, bring godliness to the world, bring godliness into our personal lives, into our homes. And Tisha B'Av will be a great holiday because all the time we invested as a result of that transformed it into a happy day. May it be very soon, now mamish, with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu.
Amen. With that, thank you so much for listening to episode 169 of the Pos-cast. Rabbi Shmuel Posner. We will see you next week.